Good morning. Does this food look good? I think it looks great. Are there things in your life that just bug you because they seem so unfair? Maybe you watch the news or hear about things happening in the world or in politics or government, and you're just like, God, that's just so unfair, that's so unjust, and you feel kind of powerless about that. The theme that I was able to preach on, which was just a challenge but a joy, was that Christ coming in glory. So it's the great scene at the end of the Gospel of Matthew, the judgment of the nations, when the Son of Man comes and he says to someone, sit on my right, someone sit on my left. Think of Michelangelo's great depiction of the Last Judgment in the Sistine Chapel. So it's what we say in the Creed, Christ will come again to judge the living and the dead. Here's why I think it's such good news. And if you want the details, listen to the homily, but it's this. Our longing for justice is a place where God himself is with us, consoling us, present in our hearts. But that finally, that orients us to Christ coming in glory when his act of judgment that symbolizes at the end of history is final. Look, we can bring about justice in our relationships and in our world to some degree, and we should do everything we can in our power to do that. First in our own lives and in the lives of people around us, to help people strive to be good and true and just and all that. But the sad truth is, whether it's things that we see in our personal lives or in the news or around the world, our attempts at justice, even maybe if we accomplish great things, are finally temporary or partial. They're not complete. The doctrine of Jesus is coming in glory. It frees us up to live our life now in the light of that great truth. I mean, we can get so frustrated by injustice that we can just sort of get clammed up or paralyzed by anger or fear, sadness. It's such good news that finally when Jesus comes in glory, he's going to make everything right. Here's what that looks like. I saw a story on a Dateline a few weeks ago about a woman whose teenage daughter was brutally killed and murdered, and the guy who did it lied about it, and he was caught, and he just never fessed up to it. And it was such a frustrating thing to watch. It's like just like the suffering and pain she was going through. The climactic moment came when the verdict came in and he was guilty. The woman was amazing. She had an opportunity to say some words to the convicted killer and rapist of her teenage daughter. Something to the effect of, I believe that Jesus came to save us from this mess and that he's going to make everything right. But I want you to know, in his name I forgive you, but I will never forget what you did, and that what you did does not take away my daughter's importance. That my daughter matters and she's important, and I will never forget that. And I thought, that's the tension of a Christian who lives in the light of Jesus' coming in glory. It was so beautiful because she was able to forgive him. Like she trusts in that Jesus is merciful. She also knows that Jesus, he knows every poor person who's ever been taken advantage of. He knows every person who's ever been brutally killed or discarded like they're nothing. And his coming in glory somehow makes that right. In light of this good news, which sometimes we maybe don't spend enough time thinking about, identify in your life where there's a frustration or a sorrow or an anger because of injustice. Identify that, and then offer that to Christ in confidence that he will come again in glory to judge the living and the dead. That frees us up now to act for justice, but finally to pray that he does come again in glory to bring not just mercy, but justice.